Welcome to the SmartScout playlist. In this playlist, I'll be going over how to use SmartScout for your business, how it can benefit your business, and how to use it. So first of all, we have the UPC scanner. So the UPC scanner is essentially like an EAN scanner or an ASIN scanner for if you have price lists from wholesalers, etc. To start using the scanner, you click up here to start a new scan, and it'll open up this little tab box for you. So you can name your search whatever it is. So if you name it for whatever wholesaler you're using, for example, you can name it as that. For the purpose of this demonstration, we'll just call it demo. So the product ID type that we'll be using to identify the products will be the GTINs of the products. So it'll be the EANs essentially. So we can change the product ID type to EAN. We then need to grab the file. So you can either just enter the product ID followed by a comma with the product cost, following that the selling price that you'll sell it as, or you can just drag and drop your files. So I'm just going to drag and drop the files in here. The title is obviously the title of the file. Does your file contain column headers? So obviously if your file does contain the column headers, you may keep it as yes. On the other hand, you may also keep it as no. So I'm going to say no, my file does not contain column headers. So product ID, the product ID, which column is it in? I'd then go to the file itself and see that the product ID is in column 1 and the product cost is in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Product cost is in 5. Now the selling cost I'm going to leave blank because I don't know, I don't know what the price is that I'm going to sell these at. It's not a set price. It will be dictated by the buy box. So I'll import these in. So I'll calculate the profit from the buy box if there is no selling price. Obviously I didn't put in a selling price, so it's going to calculate that selling price from the buy box, and then we'll get an idea of the profit and the margin. From there we just click scan products and it'll upload those products into a scan. Now obviously based on how many products you have will depend on how long the scan takes. So with a large amount of items, 900 to 1000 or more, it could take a while. As you can see, it's currently queued, it's taking its time to work through the scanning. We will revisit this when we get to that point. 910 figure represents the number of items we had in the original file, and that SmartScout has been able to identify 769 of these items. You can see that we uploaded it on this date, the last scan was done on this date, and this is the identifier for the product. Now we have 3 options: to delete, to rescan, or view results. I'm going to view the results. The columns are displayed as follows. You've got the product ID, you've got the product cost, the selling price. If you've got a selling price you know you're going to sell it at. We don't, however. We are being dictated by the buy box price. SmartScout then pulls the FBA fee, the referral fee, and the storage fee to generate you some figures. These figures are your net profit, your net margin, your ROI. SmartScout will then determine whether or not the product is a potential winner. It'll give you the BSR rank. It'll give you an Amazon in-stock rate for 90 days for Amazon as a seller, not as a marketplace, as a seller. It will give you the number of sellers on the listing. This will include the amount of FBM sellers. It'll also then show you the number of FBA sellers only. It'll give you an estimation of the monthly units sold, buy box equity, whether the product is out of stock or not, and then if there is a dominant seller. This will help you identify whether it is a private label product or not. Then we've got the ASIN and the title at the end. What can we do with it? We can have a look and see which of these products will give us an ROI that we maybe want the highest. So we perhaps only want products that filter down to 30% minimum. So we'll be able to see 30% minimum products. Maybe we want only a net profit of £5. We can filter these to be only £5 at the minimum. Maybe we only want a net margin of 15% perhaps. we can filter these down to our criteria that we want to set. We don't want to sell anything with a BSR over 100,000. That's the general rule for most sellers. So you want to change this to 100,000. We can then flip this to here, so we can see the products at the top and the products at the bottom. Now we don't want to see anything with a -1, so if we just put a minimum of 1 and filter again, we get to see here the products filtered into a nice, easy to understand format. We can then have a look at the Amazon in stock rate. We don't want to compete with Amazon. Having Amazon always in stock, they could potentially always be the dominant seller. In this case, they're not so much. But then again, I don't think we want to run that risk. I'm going to change that Amazon in stock rate to a maximum of 50%. Now, number of sellers we can keep the same as it is. It includes FBM sellers. However, the number of FBA sellers, we need to ensure it's not a private label product. So I'm going to set a minimum of 3 FBA sellers, so to ensure we're not picking out private label products. The estimated monthly sold units. In general, if you're going for wholesale or online arbitrage, you want a product that sells. Even if it was one of these 2 products down the bottom, provided that they haven't got as much competition, which they don't based on the FBA here, you could compete onto these products here. However, with a wholesaler option, you may want to go for the higher amount of units sold, like this one here. So we're then going to go all the way to the end here and just have a look at the dominant seller versus the title, and just understand if there are any issues or could potentially be any private labels. So WP Consultants obviously does not match the title or the brand name on there, so could essentially not be private label issue. We've filtered down our products. Now we want to look at, we can either view the product straight into Amazon, or we can click here and go to details. So this will give us a brief overview of the product itself. We can see that from the buy box history, WP Consultants, whom we mentioned earlier on, makes a monthly revenue estimate of around £19,000 and sells for the latest price of around £16. They do, however, hold the majority of the buy box. They are indeed FBA. We can go back in time just to see if there are any other FBA sellers here on this listing. As you can see, WP Consultants tend to hold the majority of the buy box. If we head to the history tab, it's essentially like Keeper or SAS. We can just have a history of the price the listing has been sold at. We can go 7 days, 30 days, 90 days, 1 year, and all time. You can also see the sales rank. Lastly, we can see the reviews and we can see the offers. Reviews in blue, the offer count in purple. So we can then zoom in to any specific time to see if we could find any problems. For example, a new offer count from 20 down to 6 could suggest an IP complaint, but this is something we'd have to delve further into when we get to the listing. So some of the key features of SmartScout that makes it stand out from the others is some of these features here that I'll explain to you now. The traffic sources allows you to view which ASINs other people are purchasing when they purchase this product. So when you're on Amazon, you buy a product, it says to you also frequently bought. These 2 products would come up when the main product is purchased. Now, that gives you the opportunity to target which other products that you can go for and try and source at a profitable price. The traffic strength being 600 means that it's relatively strong between this blue product here and our original product here, which is a orange colour. So if you can source this product, you know that you can most likely make sales between the two of them. As per usual software, you can check whether it's got a variation on the listing. In this case, we can see that it does. We can see whether it's a shared variation using the BSR. Furthering on from this, we can see any other marketplaces that the product is being sold in. So we already know that it's being sold in the UK. We've set our marketplace to the UK. We can see the ASIN, we can see the marketplace, the title, the brand, category, the rank, so on and so forth. We can also see that the product is being sold in Germany. Not a great deal of sales per month, but also not a great deal of competition, with a number of sellers and number of FBA sellers being only one. Then you'd be able to see if you could source the product